men turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" He stumbled and responded, "You see the people pressing on you, and they still asked, 'Who touched me?' But he kept looking around to those who had done it. The woman, frightened and trembling because she knew what had happened to her, came and fell down in front of him. And she told him, "His daughter," he said to her, "your trust has healed you. Go in peace and be healed of your disease." The high priestess declared her what? Clean. While he was still speaking, people from the synagogue's official's house came saying, "Your daughter has died. Why bother the rabbi any longer?" He came to fetch him and he said, "My daughter's sick. If you don't come now, she's going to be dead." This man's name is Jairus. "Come." Something unclean touched God. She didn't make him unclean. He made her clean. The purification of the water, the blood, the sprinkling, the cedar wood. You see the connections, right? It says, when they came into the synagogue's official's house, they saw a great commotion. Sorry, verse 38. And when the people weeping and wailing loudly on entering, he said to them, "Why is all this commotion of weeping? The child isn't dead. She is just asleep." If she is dead and you're in that house, are you clean or unclean? Unclean. Unclean. And they jeered at him, and he put them all outside. He took the child's father and mother and those with him and went to where the child was. Taking her by the hand, he said to her, "Talitha kumi," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." At once the girl got up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. It's the time of her bat mitzvah. Everybody was utterly amazed. And he gave them strict orders not to say anything to anyone. He made that house clean. It was dead inside and he brought life. He restored it. You see to understand what's going on here and the seriousness of when something unclean reaches out to grab your sin. A rabbi could not go into another rabbi's house because he was unclean. He would have to go wash his clothes. He would have to live there. He would come back. Yeshua said, "Don't worry, let's go."
Sure.
I am not just man. I am that sacrifice of purification. I am the one who stands before you and says, "Don't worry, your affliction has left you. You can now come into the presence of Hashem." Time and time again, New Testament is littered with stories about lepers, stories about men who understand their fallen nature, but begin to understand about God's risen nature. I want to end off quickly with Psalm 51. Psalm 51. Psalm 51, verse 7. No, just go for it. We're going to read from 51, verse 1. For the leader David, the Psalm of David, when Nathan the prophet came to him after his affair with Bathsheba. God, in your grace, have mercy on me. In your great compassion, blot out my crimes. Wash me completely from my guilt and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my crimes, my sin confronts me all the time. Against you only have I sinned and done what is evil from your perspective, so that you have the right in accusing me and justified in passing sentence. True, I was born guilty, was a sinner from the moment my mother conceived me. Still you want truth in the inner person, so make me know wisdom in my innermost heart. Sprinkle me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear the sound of joy and gladness, so that the bones you crushed can rejoice. Turn away your face from my sins and blot out my crimes. Create in me a clean heart. God, renew in me a resolute spirit. Don't thrust me away from your presence. Don't take your Ruach HaKodesh away from me. Restore my joy in your Yeshua, your salvation. And let a willing spirit uphold me. Then I will teach the wicked your ways, and sinners will return to you. Rescue me from the guilt of shedding blood, God of my Yeshua. Then my tongue will sing about your righteousness. I will not open up my lips. Then my mouth will praise you. Remember, if you're unclean, what do you shout?
Unclean.
And what is he saying? Return the joy to my mouth. What is he shouting now?
Praises.
Because he has been cleansed. For you don't want sacrifices or I will give them. You don't take pleasure in burnt offerings. My sacrifice to God is a broken spirit. God, you won't spurn a broken, chastened heart. In your good pleasure make Zion prosper. Rebuild the walls of Yerushalayim. then you will delight in righteous sacrifices and burnt offerings, and the whole burnt offerings. Then they will offer bulls on the altar. The fullness of your heart is what's needed. You see, these biblical writers understood the difference about who they were and when they made mistakes, and God needed to make them clean from unclean. Remember in Leviticus, I said to you that God finds you unclean, He makes you clean, and then He makes you holy. The cycle, time and time and time again, reverberates through what Yeshua was doing and what He was doing. Do yourself a favor. Look up a couple of stories about when He encounters lepers. He's outside of the camp. He encounters them. They scream to Him, "If you are willing, you will make me clean." I am. Now you go and show yourselves to the priests. That's what God told Moses. As a testimony to them. Purification is happening. I'm standing on the front. An offering on wood, scarlet thread in place with his. Okay? Alright, men. Any thoughts, any questions? Next one,
When 3 Fridays ago, I watched the news and the pastor was talking about the day when Jesus died on the cross. And he said the moment when Yeshua died on the cross, there were a few things that happened where the Holy Veil tore in half, there was a mini earthquake or an earthquake, and people came alive from the dead and walked into the cities and started teaching about God. But wouldn't that mean that the people that came alive from the dead were unclean?
They were unclean and now they became clean. Because they're no longer dead, they were alive.
If we touch something today and it's not clean, and you wash your hands and you clean it
Until the evening.
You're until the evening. So watch what
if
you
you
do.
touch it while it's evening and you wash your hands and then
Next evening.
Yeah. Actually, people made a funny saying, well, if you want a bacon sandwich, just eat it just before sunset and then you'll be fine. So that's not the heart of what you're talking about. All right.